Oh, sorry, I must have done something. Hello, hi. I'm so
Hello, Johanna.
sorry.
It's
How
okay.
are you?
Everything is good. How are you?
Good. We have talked before, right?
I don't think so.
May-
I'm not sure.
Okay.
If
For
we
some
have,
reason, you...
if we have, I
Okay.
don't remember.
Okay, sorry. Then I made a mistake. You look so familiar somehow, but maybe you just look like somebody I know.
Yeah, maybe, it's probably, we might have spoken before, but, it's probably been a long time ago. So, because, I don't remember prior to the pandemic and prior to the album number 4 that we have spoken, but I think maybe before that. So, if we did, it's been a long time.
That's usually what happens to me, that I I don't remember sometimes. Yeah.
You know,
Anyways, how are you?
everything is good. One of the things about me, it's I remember a face, I don't remember a name. Never.
Yes. Same here. I remember faces, and it gets really difficult when you're on tour and you meet somebody that you met before in a different country, and they're like, "Hey, Johanna," and then I get really confused because I know I've seen the face, but in a completely different context,
Yeah.
and they don't give you any clue. They just assume that you know who they are.
Yeah.
So then I just play along, and I'm like, "Yeah, hey, how are you doing? Great to see you again."
It's the way to go. I have a lot of those episodes, especially because, when I go to a place like an old school or something, and
Mhm.
people age differently, and
That
there's
is true.
and there's people that are completely different from when they were 16 or 17, and they go talk to
Mhm.
me, hey George, how are you? It's been a long time. And I'm like, who the hell are you? I don't remember you. Anyway, let's talk about music. And before we talk about Lucifer 5, you guys early in the year toured with Ghost. How was that tour?
Yeah, it was interesting. It was very stressful because I was tour managing myself, and which is kind of insane when you go on your first arena tour. We have played big places like festivals and stuff, but it is different to play in an arena in front of 7,000 people instead of a club in front of, I don't know, 400 people or something. But it's very fun. You get used to it very fast, and then then you have to get used to playing small places again. So
What?
no, but I like it all. I do want to say that we treat every audience the same.
Yeah,
So if we play in a small, I don't know, a Mexican bar in
yeah.
front of 200 people, we play the same way we would play in front of 7,000 people before Ghost. It's same thing.
Yeah, I think the difference is you have a new crowd there that you have to conquer. Instead, when the band, when you go playing like a headline show and people are there to see you, it's different when you're a support act and you have somehow to try to conquer them. Um, that might be a bit of a challenge, but I think it's part of growing as a band.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think now we played so many shows, though we're kind of used to everything.
Yeah.
Being treated like as if you're like Led Zeppelin to being treated like you're some assholes. That's we've done it all.
And what was, being like managing the band, being a tour manager, when you play arena shows with a band like Ghost, what did you took from that experience, as a day-to-day managing stuff?
Yeah, I used to do it, and I don't want to do it anymore because it makes me it's fucking exhausting because it's a lot of office work. It's
Yeah.
beforehand a lot of boring stuff. It's so much paperwork and emails and administration that playing a show is 1% of my work.
Yeah.
So that I kind of do on the side, oh shit, I have to run on stage. I have to actually play a show now, I better put on some makeup or whatever. Um, because I'm sitting there the whole day working, answering emails and filling out contracts and reminding people of paperwork that I need. It's really fucking annoying. I don't want to do it anymore. It made me almost want to quit the band. I said to Nick several times, fuck it, I'm done. I'm gonna go find myself a normal job. I can't do it. I'm gonna burn out. I don't earn any money. I'm the only person that doesn't earn any money. But I work the hardest, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And that's horrible, you know.
Yeah.
That's really horrible. So funnily, so
Yeah, but
then
when you don't have
then
fun, there's, it's probably, you have to do something else. If
yeah, well, it is fun, but it's just become so much work that it's humanly not possible to do all these jobs at the same time. So then it's really funny. Then I was starting to prepare the US tour that we just had. And I'm already thinking, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is so much work. And then this girl writes to me, hey, I'm Kit. Do you remember you met me? I'm the tour manager for Mayhem. Do you need a tour manager for the US? I'm like, yes, you're hired. So now I found her, and she was amazing. So we did this tour now in November. And I am so glad I found her. She's like an angel sent from hell to me, you know. So now she has to come with me on all the tours, because then on that tour in the States, I had so much fun. You know, it was so great because I had somebody who actually took care of all the bullshit for me. And I could actually focus on playing a show and enjoy it, and without being exhausted. It was just, my purpose was back, you know. And then I remembered, yes, okay, I want to be in this band. I'm not going to quit.
And I'm glad you stayed in the band, because Lucifer V is an amazing record. But when did you guys start writing for the album?
Probably, let me think. Well, it took about half a year to make it, just because we don't make everything in a block. We have our own studio at home, so we go in when we have time, and sometimes we don't go in for some weeks because we go out and play, or something happens in life, you don't have time for it. So it was like kind of spread out over half a year, and I think we kind of start writing always when one album is done.
Okay.
Like the last album was done, then it's a bunch of interviews or that kind of stuff, and then you play maybe summer festivals, and then you start again with like putting down a few demos here and there, and then it's like, okay, we should talk about, then you start talking to the label, and you get like a timeline, and then it's like, okay, now we really have to sit down and do more demos.
Yeah. Yeah, and lyrically, do the ideas come after the music is done, or you can write the lyrics before you even have like a musical idea for it?
No, well, I do write lyrics down kind of all the time, but when I work on a song, I usually start from scratch anyways, because so what I do is I take music and I sit down just with like GarageBand or something, and then I compose like as if it was an instrument with my voice, what kind of vocal melody I want for it. And I kind of always just start without lyrics. I just want to see first what kind of melody I want. And then sometimes there's stuff coming out while I record some vocals, and while I'm like trying out melodies, it's like, oh, that's cool. Okay, so now I'm thinking about this. Okay, and somehow the idea comes to you in that moment, usually. Other times, when it's not coming from this weird place in the twilight zone, then I consciously think about it. Okay, what can I write about now? And then I look into all my notes, because I write everything down. And like, oh yeah, I haven't sang about the Riding Reaper yet. Okay, I need to have one about him too, of course, So then I have my checklist of lyrics things like little notes that I've written here and there. Sometimes you watch a movie and you're thinking to yourself, or you hear something and you're like, oh shit, now I have this thought that's really good. Nico, can you stop the movie? I need to go write something down. And I have lots of these notes.
Oh, that's cool. And did you ever have like a blank piece of paper where you want to write something and nothing comes out? Does that ever happen to you, or you prefer, as you were saying, when you get inspired, have those little notes that start everything?
I don't really understand why people have a writer's block. I don't get it because it's like if you're thinking a human being and you are somebody with feelings, there's definitely something going on in your head or heart all the time.
Yeah.
Even if you're bored and even if it's the pandemic and you sit home all day, then you write a song like Cough and Fever, you
Yeah.
know, because you're like trapped. I mean, there's always something you can write about, even if it's fucking boring and you're like in a prison cell. You know what I mean? You can write about that too. Um, that's like I also don't understand people who say that, oh, I'm bored. How the fuck do you get bored? You have like two sand corns of time in the entire existence of the universe. And you get bored viewing that, you're gonna be dead for all eternity.
Yeah.
You're alive, man. Yeah.
I think with with the way technology is these days, and I'm just talking about if you're at home, there's plenty of stuff you can watch. There's a whole world, on the internet, even if it's tutorials, stupid videos, cat videos,
Yeah.
which are my favorites, by the way. I love cat videos.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
I mean, you get bored if you want to get bored because,
Oh yeah, totally.
you
But
know,
even without the internet, there's things where you don't, go out, take a walk, man. Look
yeah,
at the beautiful tree out on the street.
no, exactly. That is, you just leave the door and go for a walk somewhere, and that's it. There's something, something might happen. Might find someone, might find a dog to pet or something.
Exactly, yes.
There's always
Yes.
plenty of stuff, and does watching a movie sometimes, does inspire you much to write a lyric? What kind of movies do you prefer to watch, if you get inspired by something?
I mean, the thing is, I don't really use movies as inspiration, but I do love, I'm so interested in so many different things. I like to watch a lot of documentaries about people's lives,
Yeah.
and that can be anything. I hate sports, but I have no problem watching a documentary about an athlete just because I'm interested how this person become that person. Or, I love history and um, I love crime also.
Yeah.
I love a lot of like true crime, which is maybe a little bit horrible.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what it is, but I heard that true crime is watched the most by women for some reason. Did you know that? It's. I think it's probably
I had no
because they're
idea, but
trying.
I can understand why.
Yeah, I think they're trying to learn because they are most of the time the victims.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think so. Mm.
I don't blame them.
Exactly. But and then I subscribe to the New York Times. They have like an audio app now, which is great because then I get to do the dishes and listen to an interesting article. But so because I am very busy person, I don't have so much time to watch a movie or read a book or something because it's just I still do a lot myself. I manage the band and so on, and I think Nick and I, we always put too much work on our plates.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes you don't want any differently. Like if you really want to succeed and, to do stuff, sometimes it's better that you do it yourself than waiting for things to happen. I see a lot of bands, younger bands and, like smaller bands, obviously, that they're simply waiting for things to happen. And
no, nobody's going to do it for you. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I was listening to the record and, there's a song that I enjoyed quite a lot. But, my question to you is, what would be your ideal song to slow dance in a crypt?
Okay, let me think. I think that would be Slow Dance in a Crypt. No, okay, hold on. I think the first time I had romantic feelings about cemeteries was when I was 15. And I got, for my 15th birthday, I got from my two best friends, they gave me a vinyl of Dead Can Dance within the realm of a dying sun. And when I listened to that album for the first time, it blew me away. I was lying in the dark on my bed listening to the album, and I had like some candle on, and it was like I had just taken like a long walk on a cemetery, and on the cover of the album, you actually see a shrouded woman angel in out of stone leaning onto a crypt on the cemetery. And it is actually a photograph of a crypt on the Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris. I later in my life, I visited it. But that album blew me away so much. It was so morbid, but at the same time, it was so out of this world.
Yeah.
Beautiful and eerie at the same time. It took me to a different place, and I got goosebumps everywhere, and that was very intense. So I would say that album.
Yeah. And, speaking of cemeteries, there are some cemeteries are true works of art, the way they have the crypts and, the way they have everything designed around and all that. What was the most beautiful cemetery you ever visited?
Yeah, it's very interesting when we are on tour and I have a day off. I try to visit cemeteries all around the world. So when we were in Mexico City, we went to the cemetery too. And I go everywhere. I think there's a few that are really beautiful. I mean, my number one cemetery is always in Berlin because I was a teenager and that was my hangout. Back in the 90s, I had black hair and I had my Walkman with me, and I would, take my friends to the cemetery and we'd just hang out, in like an old abandoned crypt and just listen to music. I'd go there alone all the time. So for me, out of sentimental reasons, it's the one cemetery in Berlin.
Yeah.
But then there's such beautiful ones, Père Lachaise in Paris or Highgate Cemetery in London. That's very beautiful. And then in Glasgow, there's a cemetery called the Necropolis. Okay. It's really cool. It's like you said, the architecture is really interesting because every country has a different type of, and every period, different style, and it's a different culture on different cemeteries. But I thought the one in Glasgow was really interesting because it had all these obelisk columns. So, and it's like on a hill. So you have all these weird stones sticking up into the sky, and then these Celtic crosses in between. That looks really cool. But I could go on and on. There's so many different beautiful cemeteries in the world. Cool. I love them all.
Yeah. And what made you move from Berlin to Sweden?
Nika Andersson.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good enough reason, I guess.
Yeah, we were together and for a while, and he has a son here. So when we met, his son was only 3 years old. And of course, he can't move to Berlin, so there was no question that I will have to move to him to Sweden. So.
That's nice. And is it much different? I think you're in Stockholm. Is very different from Berlin?
Yes, it's yes and no. I mean, culturally, it's not that far away, but people are a little bit more reserved in Sweden. But I guess it's a Scandinavian culture thing. Berlin in Germany, people are a little bit more direct, which can also be fucking annoying sometimes. But everything has its up and downsides, Yeah. I like both cultures, and also we live kind of 20 minutes south of Stockholm, so it's a little bit like countryside. Yeah. There's like deers running through the garden. We look out onto the sea. It's very wild here. And I'm like a big city girl. I'm like born and raised in Berlin. And Berlin is so different, I mean, Stockholm and Sweden is very clean. Stockholm is almost like a small town for somebody from Berlin. Yeah. Berlin is a little bit more like raw and, I hate the word edgy. Yeah. but there's like all these like cool bars and stuff, and that I sometimes miss too. At the same time, I really love living in nature here, and I get my fill when we go on tour. Because
Yeah.
then I get my socializing and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, that's, I remember I only went to Denmark once, to Copenhagen, and the difference for me, I'm from Portugal, and we like to hug, handshake,
Yes.
people. We are very physical, and there,
Yeah.
people barely looked at you.
I know. So the Danish people are kind of similar to Swedish people, and in Germany, it's very mixed. You have because you have all these different cultures, especially in a big city like Berlin. So you have a lot of people from Southern Europe, but then also people that have more the northern coldness about them.
Yeah.
I'm a very huggy person too, so so I totally see what you mean. Yeah. I think Berlin is somewhere in the middle between Portugal and Scandinavia.
Yeah. For me was good and weird at the same time, because I wasn't used of people not paying attention, by any means. They wouldn't, cross eyes with you or anything. It was they're minding their own business, and that was it. And I was like, okay,
I think
that's cool.
They don't want to. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just saying that it's cool, but it's kind of weird, Why not look at people? Are you afraid of something?
No, and do you know what they think? I think they want to be polite.
Oh.
So they don't want to be so intrusive. They don't want to get on your nerves. And they just kind of want to not impose on you. So they mean well by it.
Yeah. A warning for people in the north: you can hug me, you can talk to me anytime. I like that. Don't be shy.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, when Swedish people, because they are like that too, but when they have drank alcohol and they become drunk, then it's the opposite. Then they go fucking nuts. Yeah. Then they're like your best friend, and they give you hugs all the time. And
sometimes that's all you need. It's a drink to
to connect,
free yourself,
right?
And the album is coming out early next year, and you guys already have a tour confirmed with Angel Witch and Night Eternal. Speaking of Night Eternal, Fatal, their new record, it's probably one of the best I heard this year. And when I saw this tour, I was like, shame they're not playing in Portugal.
Yeah, I guess I'd better listen to that album then.
It's a great record. I absolutely, the singer, he sings in a way that it's very unique, and I really enjoyed the album. The album I listened, I remember listening the first time, and I was hooked immediately to the record. And it's a very special record. You should give it a listen. I think it's a really good record, and it's not that different from Lucifer musically, and all the vibe I get from Night Eternal, it's very similar to Lucifer. So, when I saw this package, I was like, this should have stopped in Portugal, but, unfortunately, it's not happening.
Not yet, but you never know.
Yeah.
but definitely, yes, I should. I'm a bad headliner. I should listen to that album. I did listen to like a few songs, and that's why I decided to take them on tour. But again, it's been a very hectic time for me. So, but yes, you are right. I will listen to this album.
Yeah. And, some of these shows have been announced. The plan for next year is to play as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I try to. I will have to pester my agent in Europe a little bit more. But we have now 1 month coming of touring in February, and then we'll have to see. But we don't have any plans really for next year. I mean, I think we're good in the album recording department because we've done quite a few. So now we can actually focus on trying to get around. And because we also, because of the pandemic, had the problem that we couldn't tour. for the last two albums, really.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah. Was it weird, to put an album out and not being able to go on the road?
Um, yeah, but you get so used to it, and that's why we thought, okay, that's why we had two pandemic albums, because it's like, okay, when you're a musician, you do two things: you record albums and you tour. So when you can tour, then you should record more music, right? So yeah, so we just focused on that. I mean, I knew things was gonna blow over, and it is really strange. I mean, the whole pandemic thing was so claustrophobic and apocalyptic,
Yeah.
and now nobody talks about it anymore. Isn't that weird? Yeah.
It's kind of,
And now it's just gone, and
I think we are living in an age and an era where we focus on one thing. And, we had, prior to the pandemic, there was those horrible fires in Australia, and there was the talk on the news, at least here, every day it was the fires in Australia, fires in Australia. Then we had the pandemic, it was a pandemic. Then was the war in Ukraine.
In the Ukraine, now it's Gaza. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's Israel. And, we move from freaking, topic to topic. And, we got the vaccines now, but no one seems to be very worried. Winter is coming. It's always bad for respiratory infections and all that stuff. But no one seems to be bothered anymore. It seems like it's like we were in fucking house for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now it's okay to go out again. The virus is there, but there's vaccines. Okay, but it's everything is okay now. What's this?
I know it's super strange. I think so too. When I was just flying home from the US tour, then it's like you almost see nobody with a face mask.
Yeah.
And at an airport, when everybody passes each other from all these different countries, so it's like the worst place, Yeah. And it's like maybe in the whole airport you see like two people with a mask.
Yeah.
It is very strange, because you do hear about people still getting COVID.
Yeah.
But then maybe those people stay at home, but there's so many others that probably just run around with it anyways, because it's like having a cold now.
Yeah, I was in the office yesterday, and there was like a couple of people that were coughing and sneezing and all that, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here? If you're sick, stay at home. Don't come here and give me the freaking virus. I don't want it."
Exactly. Yeah.
It's weird, because if, like 2 years ago, if you had symptoms like that, the minimum symptom, you would stay at home and you couldn't leave the house or the bedroom or anything like that. And now you can go to work anyway again. But it's weird.
Yeah, but you're right. It's definitely humanity. I think it's because it's too many fires burning at the same time. Yeah. And it's it may be easy to distract yourself from your own misery if you zone in on one big problem. And
See, I think it's, and because with social media and all that stuff, it's very easy to get angry and to focus on one thing and just, throw whatever thing there in the air, and people will react and everybody goes crazy about something. It's very weird times anyway, and I'm losing my patience with humans in general.
Yeah, me too. That's why I got a dog. I got a rescue dog, and I live out here in the sticks with Nickel, and we don't see many people, other than when we are on tour. But hey, you know what? I have to go, because they fucking Nuclear Blast put like 5 interviews every half hour. It's like chop.
Johanna, thank you very much for your time. I'll see you guys in Portugal soon, or
I hope so too.
Next year. All right. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Hope to see you soon. All right. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.